Join us, Alix
and Colleen,
self-proclaimed fake it till you make it experts, as we navigate the highs and lows of being a woman and how the pressure and overwhelm of trying to do it all often leads to feeling like an imposter in our own lives. On today's episode, we're chatting with Gabby Chan, who, despite being a full-time nurse and content creator, always looks for the moments of gratitude and happiness amongst the chaos.
Hi, Alix.
Hi, Colleen.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Alix, I have to ask, do you do Wordle?
No.
You don't do the Wordle?
No. I did it for like the first 5 minutes that it was out, and then I was like, this is dumb.
I'm still doing it.
I can't believe you're still doing it.
I do the Wordle almost every day, and I do the Quirtle too, which is
that
like
sounds perverse.
Because here I was going to ask you if you like use the same word every week or you do different words, but you don't even Wordle.
I did it like when it was all the craze, and then when like New York Times bought it out and made it annoying, I was like, I'm over it. So I stopped.
Do you do any games online?
No, I used to do a Wordscapes. It's like a app on my phone, and I did Candy Crush for a while, but
I did Candy Crush.
I don't really do any of it now.
Do you
just
play
do
any
TikTok.
TikTok? Do you play any card games or board games?
No, I hate games.
You hate games
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, it drives my son insane.
I didn't love like Monopoly and all those kinds of games, but we've gotten into, I play crib with mom and dad. And then we've gotten into this game called Mexican Train Dominoes. And we quite like that. And again, with mom and dad. And my kids love games. So every now and then we have like a games night at the house and we quite enjoy it.
I understand the love of games, but for me, I don't know. I think, especially with card games, you have to be really strategic on your feet. And that's just not a strength of mine.
Oh, I'm not good with
So I have to kind of like take something and go away with it and strategize and come back to it. So cards, you can't really do that. You have to sort of understand what you're doing five plays ahead. And my brain just doesn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at it.
And I don't like to do things I'm not good at.
All right. There you go. Alix has to be the expert.
I think we all know that.
We all know that. On this week's episode, we have Gabby Chan. Gabby, I think is probably the youngest person for sure that we've had on.
Oh my God. Yay.
Yay. But also incredibly established.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
No,
That's the imposter.
That's the
Yeah.
imposter talking. You've got your shit together. Like you're doing pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
I
I
was-
try.
How old are you? Do you mind?
I
if you don't
turned
mind?
30 this summer. Last month, actually. Yeah. The big 3-0.
Just a youngin'.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
there for her birthday party and
Oh.
cake.
God,
Yeah.
Yes, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I invited Colleen to a dinner and then I brought out cake like surprise. It's my birthday.
I love that.
Yeah. And it was the first time we met in person. Like we sat down. I mean, I met you before, but kind of like get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gabby does a lot of social media. She is the face behind Date Night Halifax.
Mm-hmm.
She also has her own, page, Instagram page and TikTok that she's very busy with, which is Gabby Chan.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell everybody how you came to be Date Night Halifax.
So it's a funny story. I actually started social media probably a couple of years back, and it was just mostly just me and my fiance documenting our dates and whatnot. And Date Night Halifax just reposted a lot of our stuff. So for the longest time, people thought that I was Date Night Halifax because they posted a lot of my stuff. They liked my stuff. But then I actually never met the person behind it. And then after this year, the person that ran Date Night Halifax actually moved to Ottawa. So there's actually no one running Date Night Halifax. And so the people from Toronto who runs other date night, there's different date nights across the country, reached out to me and was, hey, I guess we have a really good rapport. And like, would you love to just do this for us? And I was like, sure. At first I was a little bit hesitant, the imposter syndrome in me, I guess, just because I do work full time and like I have my own kind of social media page, and sometimes I help my brother's social media page as well. So I was hesitant at first, but then I committed it, and now it's been officially been like 3 months, I would say. I've been doing it pretty consistently.
I think a lot of people really knew you from that. You're doing a really great job doing your weekly capture of what's going on in Halifax this week. And it's not just for people going out on a date.
No,
I mean,
no.
it's everybody, you know,
No.
and you're doing a really great, I don't know, you're just showing great stuff around Halifax.
Thank you. Yeah. I guess for me, the word date itself is sort of a communal kind of like, it could be a family date, parents date, lunch date, everything. So for me, like date itself is not romantic. It could be everything. Like even my parents and I, we go on weekly lunch dates. Right.
Yeah.
It's just my family or friends dates. Like, you know, it's again, a lot of people think that's, oh, like it's only for dates, but no, it's like for family, kids, and just a communal group activity. It's just, yeah.
So you get to go around to a whole bunch of different places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fortunate that me and my fiance have the opportunity to explore so many local businesses around Halifax. Like I grew up here. I originally was born in Hong Kong, my family was, and I immigrated here like when I was less than 1 year old, and then I moved back and forth. So Halifax is my home, and I've been here for a long time. And like watching the city grow, it's quite nice to just see all of that. So and I get to go and like visit these places,
Yeah.
and show everyone else. Yeah.
Do you have sort of a top 3 places? Are you
Ooh, no,
yeah,
that's a
that's a
touchy
touch.
No. Yeah.
Like, how does it work? Do the businesses approach you to profile them, or do you approach them and say, hey, I'd like to profile you?
So I find it difficult just because like I have my own page, and I started with just me, Gabby, and then so now I'm associated with Date Night officially this summer. In terms of, there's like 2 separate things. So like the Date Night part of it, they are a media company, so they help market businesses. So for them, businesses kind of go for them and be like, hey, I have this opening, I would love you to market it and whatnot. Can we have one of your creators come, or editors or whatever? So like I will be one of those people to go and visit. So that itself, sometimes like for me personally on my personal page, I do that too. I try not to mix them too much. I personally I'm super excited when I see something like new. Growing up, I was kind of like a gamer girl. Funny fact, you guys talk about game. I stayed inside a lot. Like gaming, I still love to game. Like if I was to sit inside and game, I can game all day. But that's why now that I'm older, I'm like, I want to go out and do more things. So that's why like these recent years, and I've been able to kind of go out and look at these days, destinations, Nova Scotian stuff, businesses. And I personally, most of the time, reach out to businesses themselves. And like, for example, this weekend, there's a toughing workshop.
Really?
Yeah. So like it was a very small shop, and I was walking downtown and I saw it and it was closed, and I was like, why is this closed? It looks really, really cute inside. Like, and they have these rugs and they have these workshop craft things. And I was like, so I went online and searched them up, and they didn't have a lot of information. So I messaged them on Instagram. I was like, hey, like, do you guys actually do this? So like, and he's like, yeah. And then so I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I would love to just like come in and do a class and just show everyone how, you know, this would be a great idea, and I'd love to show people that. And they're like, yeah, like we would love that. So we're doing that this week.
That's fun.
Yeah. So that's kind of generally how we do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So will that be through Date Night, or that's through you?
That's for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of crosses over a little bit because
Yeah.
you're running your own stuff and pitching for your own stuff. and
Yeah.
then Date Night is pitching
Yeah.
for other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get a lot more flexibility with what I like as a creator, what I want to put out on my page. And like being a marketing company, they have certain kind of expectations, you know, so it's a little bit different, but either or, love both.
How often are you posting a week?
For who?
So how often for you and how often for Date Night?
So Date Night, it's every day. That being sometimes I would flush in my own content in there, or I promote like local businesses.
Yeah.
Definitely post if I saw like, you know, things that I feel like people will be interested in, I would post as well. But it is like an everyday thing.
But
for them.
besides that, so you are basically doing social media full time,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you're a full-time cardiac care nurse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love both. And it's so different. That gives me a creative outlet, and then also like gives me, I don't know, I'm always fascinated with healthcare, and like I just love the interaction. So like it's very different. Yeah. So for example, my day today, I went to work, I because this is 7:30 right now. So like I told them like I can't stay for 7 to 7, but I'll stay till 7 to 4. So I did that. Woke up at 5:45. Did that. Went home, took a nap, and I'm here. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, yeah.
I mean, your youth allows you to be an
Yeah.
energizer
Yo.
bunny.
Coffee does too.
Coffee does too.
Coffee does too. Yeah.
Where does imposter syndrome come into all of it for you?
Me, just like I said, like I don't know if it's a culture aspect of it. Growing up, like just the imposter syndrome I feel like it's embedded in me just culturally. Like I value just always try your best and like never settle for less, which is pretty much what my parents go by. And that in itself is embedded in my head. I can't accept a compliment. I don't know about you guys, but like it's so hard to accept a compliment. I'm trying, but then I really don't feel like, I'm not really doing much. I feel, I'm just kind of, having a camera and just kind of having fun with it and like shooting what me and my fiance or whatever I do with my friends. So I feel like it's not like super crazy. It does like make me happy when people tell me that I really enjoy and like thank you for showing me around Halifax and giving me suggestions and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely that part of the imposter syndrome.
There are several root causes of imposter syndrome.
I was going to say too, I think when something comes naturally to you, you feel like it should be more work. Whereas it doesn't mean that it's not giving just as much value for people, but it feels like it should be harder, even though what you're doing is actually what people need and want. But because it comes so naturally to you, you're just sort of like, oh, well, I should be doing more. Wow. But really, it's just sort of, you're just good at it.
Wow. I honestly never thought of it that way. That's, oh, wow. I mean, like that's crazy. Yeah. I never thought about it that way.
You're having a light bulb.
Yeah, I'm having a light bulb
that's our first aha moment.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. Because the same thing with nursing, right? Like people always say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for what we appreciate it. And again, like it touches my heart, but at the same time, I didn't really do that much. This is just a daily thing for me. Like, but little things. And that's why I love nursing so much. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's awesome that you found two passions that not only do you love, but you're just naturally gifted for. So, I mean, kudos to you. I feel there's still people chasing that, myself included.
Well, and I think that's why when I look at you, as a 30-year-old woman, to me, you're so established. And maybe that's part of it, is that you found passions that you're very, you're succeeding at these passions at a young age. It's impressive.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Like it's definitely came a long way. I didn't start nursing, actually. I started chemistry. Did chemistry for a bit, and then I went back for nursing. And yeah, like the influencer thing, I just kind of fell into place.
Why did you start doing the influence social media stuff?
So again, a lot of it was circling back to my fiance. Yeah. When we first met, it was during COVID. So we were COVID love, and he actually moved back from Ontario to Halifax to be with me. And during the shutdown, there wasn't a lot of stuff to do. And startup have to be creative. We only had our phones, and like TikTok at the time was very popular. And like, we just kind of documented our stay. And most likely, most of it was kind of us, because we had the lockdown, we can only stay in Nova Scotia. So we did a lot of like touring around Cape Breton. We went to like a lot of destinations like White Point. We did some stuff with, and it was just us, because we were just like fresh out of a relationship and we were trying to explore things together. So, and we just kind of, we had a great time, and then people started to reach out to us. And like, again, my fiance he's also a nurse too. And he's also like me, got a creative aspect to him as well. He likes photography. So like, he did the drone shots, I kind of did that, and kind of fuel with each other. And then it just kind of blew up. And then people started to ask me for, would you like to, come over and kind of document? And I was kind of surprised. I was just, well, I kind of just, you want me to do it? Like, well, really?
You're always so fun at different events. You're always out there. You're always cheery. You're always cheering people on. You're such a joy to have at different events. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you. But funny thing, this is another imposter syndrome. I actually am a extreme introvert.
Same.
Yeah, like I'm an extreme extrovert, but an extreme introvert. I don't know if it's a part of my career and just like I am always talking to people. Again, like social media events, you're always talking to people, which I love. Like I get the energy from people around me, but then when I go home, I'm like, I need to just sit down and just not talk to anybody and just like be in my zone for like a day.
I think you're both extroverted introverts.
Extrovert
I am an
introverts.
introverted introvert. Like I don't like any talking to people. Try to do it as little as possible.
And she has a podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just talking at
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I said to somebody this week, I very much am an introverted extrovert. I'm like you. I go to the events
Yeah.
and everybody sees this outgoing person who's in, you know, whether I'm in front of a mic or
Yeah.
kidding around or just, like I'm out there. I'm very much when I'm in that space, I'm very much extroverted. But then I go home and I'm shutting down for a solid day, 2 days. And if I don't, it really messes with me. Like I need my space. And I've said to you enough times, a number of times, I've had enough with peopling.
Yeah.
Like it's enough. I need to back off.
Yeah.
You put so much out there and then need to pull it all back in to re-energize. What happens to me if I don't re-energize is I will start with panic attacks.
Yeah.
And you know, you hit a wall there a couple of weeks ago where, you know, after you bought your house and stuff, you just shut down. You were exhausted.
I slept for like 2-3 days. Like my body, I had a fever. Like it was 39. Like I've never had a fever in my life like that high. I had to leave work. I called in sick for 2 days because I physically can't be here because I'm having fever. And then I slept for 2 days and it just slowly, it took me like a week to recover. But after 2 days, I started getting better, but it was nothing, like I didn't have COVID. Like it was just my body telling me like, listen, you gotta just relax for a little bit.
And you were doing a lot. You know, we talk, you're very busy. You're busy with the nurse, you know, as a nurse, and you're busy with social media, but also at that time you bought a house.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Big milestone for us.
Yeah. You and Matt got a house. Actually, they bought a house on the street that I raised my children on.
Yes, I'm actually in love with the house. When I first met Colleen, she was like, yeah, no, she knew my house like through her fingers. Like she knew, like, yeah, awesome. Small world.
It is a small world. One of the ways to combat imposter syndrome is to actually listen to how awesome the people in your life think you are. If you're looking for the perfect gift for a loved one, where you can tell them all of the things that make them special, visit my Drawbridge Creative Etsy shop and purchase a Things We Love About You custom poster. With several styles to choose from, it's a fabulous gift for any milestone birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just because. How do you think social media has impacted this generation, your generation, with imposter syndrome?
I struggle with this too. Just being like, you can probably relate, like as a social content creator, we highlight so much on social media. And it's like, you know, that's all I put out there. I don't put out, you know, like I do sometimes, like, you know, with my mental health and stuff, I'm pretty like open about that. But other stuff, like people just see, like if you just go on my Instagram, the highlights are just, I went kayaking, I went to this restaurant, all this stuff. And people don't see like, you know, the other side of it, right? I always talk to people and I always encourage people to, if you like to do your own content, right? And people always tell me like, you know, like no one wants to watch me. No one wants to do this, like wants to sit down and watch my content or hear what I have to say. And it's funny, I've told multiple women this. I'm like, you guys have so much knowledge and every one of you have different knowledge to spread the world. And it sucks that like social media has glorified the perspective of things, that it prevents people from being comfortable to actually share what they have to say, if you know what I mean. Because everything's so like glamorous and like the angles, the editing, all this stuff, right? And it kind of like, I find that shoos people away from wanting to like explore their creativity and, you know, and create.
Yes, because I think so many you know, we coach women on getting on social media, try to put themselves in front of the camera, and so many people don't want to because they don't look perfect. I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, if
I think it's harder even too as influencers because you need to maintain a certain persona online and you need people to see like a certain angle of you, and your metrics have to be just so. So I think that adds an extra layer of pressure to only show the highlights and to show, you know, the content that might perform the best. But I think you're right. I think people are craving real, authentic, behind the scenes, like gritty, raw content more and more.
it's tough though, because
Yeah.
in order to show that gritty raw, you have to be gritty raw.
Yeah, which
And
is
that
very
is
vulnerable
hard and
Yeah.
vulnerable,
Yeah.
and
and can backfire.
it could, oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like that's the thing about social media. It's like there's no mercy.
No.
You know? It's just it can be really a mean space. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
watch a lot of people get beat up pretty heavy on social media. I wonder about young girls, you know, like I came into social media when, you know, 15 years ago, let's
Mhm.
say. Well, I was at that point, I was 40 years old. I was okay with who I was.
Yeah.
But I wonder about, you know, you grew up with social media, as did my
Yeah.
daughter. You're my daughter's age. So, you know, you guys would have started with MySpace and,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, all of this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But by the time you got on Facebook, you were you're a young person. You're still figuring out who you are. You're still developing. You're still, and people are watching you.
Yeah.
You know, that has to have an impact on, it has to have an impact on young people. It has to.
Does. And it makes people think that so and so is doing this. Like, I'm not doing that. Is there something missing in my life? You know, like I'm not good enough to do that. I love social media, but there's a big area in it that really, you know, I fear for like my niece who's only 8 right now, but like social media, the perspective of it is so different now, I feel.
the comparison is really tough. Like my son's
Yeah.
11, he likes to create videos on YouTube and do edits and stuff. And that's, you know, a good creative outlet for him. But then he starts saying, well, like my friend got more views than I did.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. And that kind of dialogue, which I really dislike because it's like, you're doing it to work on your creative skills and have a creative outlet, but there's so much pressure on getting as many likes or getting as many views. And
Yeah.
it's just exhausting.
And I get that too.
Yeah.
Being social media content. Initially, when I started, I didn't care about the views and like whatever the likes. Cause I was like, honestly, I just wanted to put it out there and I was proud of what I put out. But now that you mix in the business part of it, a part of that makes it a little bit more stressful. But yet again, I actually have fun just making the videos. I enjoy looking at the footage and going through it. And when I look at it, watch myself, I'm like, I did that.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better at it and I'm getting
Mhm.
quicker at it. And it's just that in itself is a good gratification for myself.
I do as well. But I find that when there's a group of us working on content for whether we went to an event or we're working with brand, let's say,
Yeah.
I always look at other people's numbers, and I don't want
Mm.
to, but you know, I'll put out a video or whatever. And then next thing you know, I'm looking at other people's videos that were at the same event. And I'm like, oh, they're getting way more likes than I am, or way more comments than I am, or way more, you know, and it's tough. Like
Yeah.
it's when you're working, when it's business, you know,
Yeah.
when the next brand you work with is going to pay you based on whether
Yeah.
or not people resonated with the last work that you did. Like you're only as good as the last project you
Right.
worked on. So, you know, I look at the numbers. I'm 55 years old and I look at the numbers.
I know it's hard.
And I just think that, you know, you mentioned your son looking at YouTube, like, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an important conversation to have, you know, about comparison and how it doesn't really mean anything, and that you have different audiences and different
Yeah.
people resonate with things differently. But that's hard when it's hard when you're a kid, it's hard when you're an adult to
Yeah.
justify that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all a number game. And
Yeah.
like I part of that's the only thing that I don't love is
That's
the
what
number game
I don't
and
like
the
it either.
comparing and like all this stuff. But again, like you said, like people, different audience and people view your content differently, right? It only takes one person to be like, oh, I like, I love your video, for me to just be happy about that.
Mm.
You know, like, it doesn't, I'm not gonna lie and say like I don't compare myself and like watch other people's numbers, but you know, like I enjoy other people's content, but also like like it's a different perspective what they put out and what I put out, and it's enjoy. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain, but
And I do think it's all good. I just worry about the kids. I really
Yeah.
truly do. I worry about the kids and social media, and I think things need to change somehow. And I don't know what the answer is, but if it can affect us in different ways, you as a 30-year-old, me as a 55-year-old, you're in your. I just worry about the kids. I worry about the teens.
But like,
Yeah.
sometimes social media does have its perks with like, people linking people together in communities and stuff. And the mental health community on social is very, very good. And like reading people's stories and people coming out, like all it takes is just like an 8-second video of you saying about how you feel or like whatever. And then that resonated with me and made my day 10 times better because, oh, that person's going through the exact same thing that I go through and understands, right?
I think that community piece is really, really important
Yeah.
for people, and the
It
ability
is.
to learn. Like my son is
Oh my
teaching
God.
himself stuff constantly through YouTube. That is
Yeah.
amazing to me. Like, so that didn't exist when we were kids. Like there was no, you couldn't just you could read the fucking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you're right though, that the benefits of social media in meeting people, like we would not be friends. We
Yeah.
met on social media.
Mhm.
You and I
Yeah.
followed each other on
Yeah.
social media before we met in real life. Like, so it's that bringing community together and finding your people is really, maybe that's what we need to focus on more, is the
Yes.
social part of social media. Maybe, that's gotten lost a little bit, I think, in trying to portray
Yeah.
a perfect image.
That's a good point, because that I was like, I wanted to share a story that I went to a restaurant, and like what you said about we should focus on the social of social media and not the perspective of social media. And like why I said this because I was at a restaurant, and the chef, he was so passionate about his food. Like his food was absolutely phenomenal. And he was talking about, like getting influencers in and whatnot. And we had a really long conversation, and he was telling me that social media, it's all about the perspective now, and it almost takes away from the food. Because now it doesn't matter how your food tastes, it's what it looks on Instagram and what it appears, and it's the perspective. It's not so much the taste anymore. So like that really like a light bulb. I'm like, wow, really, that's so true, because everything that Instagram and social media in general, it's the perspective, and like the social part of social media is kind of gone now.
Mm.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
And I feel bad for all the restaurants that have, we're taking photos of their food sometimes, and it doesn't look good. We're not food photographers.
No.
Like food photography is a really specialized industry. I mean, to make a Big Mac look like a Big Mac, the thing is sprayed with silicone and whatever. Like it's, to make these
to be
commercials,
fair,
to make
the real Big Mac's
the
probably
real Big Mac might be,
Yeah.
but to make food look good in an ad so here we are out there taking pictures of our food.
Yeah.
It does not look good. We have no business taking pictures of food. A lot of times when I go into restaurants, I'll say what I ate, or I'll talk about the decor of the restaurant or what an enjoyable time I had. But a lot of times I'm looking back at the pictures afterwards thinking, it looks like smush. Like I can't put that online.
Yeah. But the taste phenomenal.
But it tasted fantastic.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you, don't look at the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perspective. It's all about perspective on social media.
What do you do? So you do some exercising to combat some of the social media, the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You do some gaming. What are your big games?
My brother, he built me a computer, which is like great for gaming. So I haven't had time to like explore and like, but I like farming games, which is very like mindless. You go and farm on your farm. I bought the Hogwarts game, which I haven't had a chance to play yet. But yeah, like those ones. And there's always like other farming games that are coming out and I want to try.
Would you
Yeah.
work farm in real life?
No, absolutely not. I feel like social media and influencing does contribute a lot more than if I was to like view back 5 years ago when I was just working as a nurse. Now that everything has been like rolling, I talk a lot with my fiance, and communication is very key. Like I'll say when I had that like mental meltdown a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I just feel like I'm not doing enough. And like there's not enough time in the day. Like I've got a house to pay. I gotta work overtime to pay for the mortgage, which we're fine with money, but at the same time, like I need to like make sure that we're good. I have to do like this content for date night, this content for myself, and make sure that I'm not like, I have to balance that. Making sure I go for deadlines and stuff. I was just like, it was up to the point where I like couldn't sleep. And every moment I have, I'm just planning like what to do. And I told my fiance, and he's been very, very good, like at just coaching me through it and making sure that, he tells me every day that I'm beautiful and I'm enough and, like all this stuff. He's really cute, but yeah.
He's lovely.
He's
That's
lovely.
really
Yeah,
nice.
he's a lovely man.
He really is a lovely man.
Right?
He's your
But
hype guy.
he's my hype man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my hype man, and he always pushes me to always like try hard, but also tell me to take breaks and whatnot. He does both. He does everything.
Alix is my hype guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, you really are.
I have a
We
mat
You
too.
do have a
You
mat.
have a mat
also,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Colleen's your mat.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I
she has
actually
a
have a
mat.
real
Oh, you have a mat. Oh, is your husband?
Yeah, my husband's mat.
There's a lot of mats.
It's very
in the
common.
world.
Yeah, there are a lot of mats
Yeah.
out there.
They're all nice.
I need a mat. Yeah,
I need a mat.
Yeah.
I need
I
a
mean, I'll
mat.
be your mat
Yeah.
every time, but
Yeah.
No.
I mean, hype girl mat.
I was-
Anyone
I
could
was
be
a-
their own mat.
I was a doormat.
Oh
Ooh.
That's a
Yeah.
that's another
Yeah.
episode.
That's another kind of
Goodbye.
mat.
Yeah.
Serving up hot brews, refreshing cold drinks, lots of fresh baked goodies, and delicious lunch options. Visit the Mellow Mug in the heart of Larry Utech for dine-in, takeout, or drive-through service. Their spacious cafe offers a casual and inviting vibe that's perfect for everything from enjoying a good book, hanging with friends, or meeting a colleague. The Mellow Mug is your neighborhood spot for great coffee and delicious eats and sweets. No.
Yeah.
What kind of an imposter do you think you are? Did you look through the list?
Yes, I did.
What
Can I
did
go through? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm definitely the perfectionist.
That doesn't surprise me. You're a
Yeah.
perfectionist.
Yeah, and then not the soloist.
No.
And then I think the first and second one.
The expert,
Yeah,
perfectionist and expert.
yeah,
So yeah, that's the perfectionist primary focus on how something is done. One minor flaw in an otherwise stellar performance, 99 out of 100 equals failure. You already said that. If you're a 97,
yeah,
you should, or if you're 95, you should have been a 97.
yeah. It's like, why didn't you get that extra percent? Yeah,
Right, the
definitely.
root cause of this one's definitely coming from how you were raised.
How I was raised, yeah. But I can see where that's coming from because like they want me to be the best version of myself, and like it pushes me for sure. But a little part of me is like, but I'm enough.
I'm enough.
No, but
But-
they're really good.
But there's a part of imposter syndrome that is good
Mm,
because it does push you.
yeah,
It's not all negative here. It does push you to get out of your own way and be a better person and do,
100%. Yeah,
but you have to, I guess the balance is not taking it to extremes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself to it. Like, like again, that 97 is good. Like,
Yeah, 90s. I would have been really happy with a 97
yeah.
in school. Yeah.
Yes, I was not a perfectionist.
No, I wasn't a perfectionist in school. Definitely wasn't an expert. I felt I needed to, if I didn't know everything, then I just needed to, then I couldn't speak on a topic unless I knew everything about the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, even for perfectionists, are you a perfectionist?
No, not at all.
No?
I
I was
felt
gonna
like
ask you like how many edits like for me, like I probably had like 10 or like videos of like me like switching them. Like I didn't like that, like how that looked on this angle. I'm gonna switch it. Like I've got
Oh.
so many.
Oh, we both do that.
Yeah.
with
yeah.
with social media, with like when you do a reel for somebody, and you with editing this podcast,
Yeah.
you're a real perfectionist when it comes to editing the podcast. And I'm like, no, it's
Which is
good.
why I want to throw all the mics out the window.
Yeah, because you
they
can't
won't-
get the sound exactly the way you want it. And I understand that, but I get to the point, I'm like, no, it's good. Like, let it go.
Mhm.
Well, I definitely will get to the point where I won't get to the point where we don't put something out,
No,
but I do like it to reach a certain standard if possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like that with social media content as well.
but you're like that with your design work also, with your social media content. I'm very much with my social content.
Yeah.
I try not to, if we've been to an event, I try not to look at other people's videos until mine is out, their
Mhm.
reels or their graphics. But then after theirs are out, I'm like, oh shoot, I should have done that, or I could have done that
Yeah.
too, or why didn't,
Mhm.
but yeah.
I shut it off. Like I literally every time, I don't know, you do the same thing. Like I upload it, I'm like, boop, I'm not gonna see it for like an hour.
Yeah, I kind of.
Because I'm like, I'm just gonna think about it, and I know I'm just gonna put it away,
Yeah,
wait for it like an hour, and then see it. Like,
see how it did.
yeah. But then also I'm like, I shouldn't care. It's like that's
But
what
we
I tell
do,
myself.
but
I'm
it's
like,
because
"Man."
it's work. It's
Yeah.
a job. So
Yeah.
you have to care. So I fall into expert. I also fall into superhuman stuff.
Ooh, I think I fall into that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of women do.
Yeah.
I think we're always trying to do all the things, trying to do them well.
Yeah.
You don't want to fail in any part of your life, whether it's friend, wife, daughter, girlfriend. Like you just don't, mother. You just don't want to mess up.
Mhm.
You want to be perceived as doing all of the things well, and it's hard. You can't.
Yeah. Like my mom, like she broke her elbow, and like the first thing she said to the surgeon was, "Oh, like how am I gonna do my chores? I gotta go back and do my chores." And then he was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I got so many stuff. I'm busy. I got stuff to do." And I'm like, "Mom, like you don't have to wash like the house every day. You can chill out for a couple of weeks." That was all she was worried about. Like it's just like woman embedded in her, like
Yeah.
just do.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to give ourselves grace.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Can't do it
Yeah.
all. You
Can't do
shouldn't
it
have to
all.
do it all.
And like knowing like it's okay. I always tell this to people, and it's like probably the best moment of my life where it was just a couple months ago. I woke up and I walked down to my house, like to the stairs downstairs, and I got my cup of coffee, and it was like a busy week or whatever. And I drank my coffee and I sat there and I was like, like I'm very happy right now to just like, I have my cup of coffee. I'm busy, but like I am able to do it one at a time. I have a beautiful, like just like making sure you sit down and reflect on how far you've come. And that moment I was just so happy. And like my mom, actually, so funny. My mom actually came into the house like an hour later and was like talking to me about how stressed I was. And then she was like, "Are you happy?" And I'm like, "Mom, I'm so happy." And she's like, "Are you really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm, busy, stressed and whatnot, but I'm happy that I'm able to have this moment and drink this coffee and look back at what I've achieved and like be very, very content with myself."
I love that because I don't know that me at 30 years old would have sat back and sat in the present for the moment and reflected on what where I was and been content in that moment, because I was constantly striving for the next thing or the biggest thing or the next, to do better. Like, I don't think so. Kudos to you.
Oh, thank you.
Do you feel like that today?
Yeah, like even today, like I'm just like little things like it's definitely my coping mechanism, part of it, like being so busy and like go. Like even now, like I'm sitting here, it's nighttime. I pushed myself to pick up an overtime today, accomplished that, coded 2 patients. Like it was a busy day for us in hospital. Yeah. Like CPR and all. Like did that, went back home, took a nap, came here and did the podcast and had the opportunity to talk about this with 2 lovely people. Like it's, again, very content. And like, am I exhausted? 100%. But like, I'm content and like happy and very excited with what more is to come. Yeah.
I think a gratitude practice is life-changing. I'm
Yeah.
definitely trying to do that more.
Yeah.
Just took me 45 years.
Yeah, it's taken me a little longer. Yeah, but gratitude.
Yeah. Gratitude and just,
I think when you get overwhelmed and you get so caught up in like the what ifs or should I or do I, it's sometimes nice to sit back and be like, okay, for me right now, I'm just trying to really reflect on the life that I've built, and it's the life that I wanted. So, just being happy with the fact that the life that I'm living is the one that I wanted to live.
right.
Because even that is so profound to a certain extent.
Like you wouldn't change, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're sitting here, it's like your life, my life, there's obviously certain things that you regret, but like right now we're all like, we're pretty content, I would say. I don't know, like
Yeah,
what I can't read your mind, but like,
it depends on the day, but the gratitude definitely brings me back.
yeah.
yeah. It's funny. We were kayaking yesterday, and I was sitting on the water, and I felt really good.
I know, also
I felt
beautiful.
really happy, and it was like, and it was a lot. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. That water calmed me. It reset me a little bit. Like it felt good to be there, and I felt happy yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was a really good feeling, and I'm like, I want more of that.
Yeah, like I was gonna tell you too, like I saw you get into the water and you look fearful.
Yeah,
Not a lie.
I think we all need to grab those happy moments and really hang on to them. And so I wish you both more happy moments.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Too.
Let's do the speed round.
Okay, so 5 questions. Try to keep it to 1-word answers if possible.
Automatically stressed.
Yeah,
You can pass.
Back to no.
I don't know what the questions
Just wipe
are.
out whatever
I
I
am
just
no
said.
longer
I am
happy.
no longer happy. Wipe it out and just like
All right. If you could travel back in time, which era would you visit?
the 90s.
What is your favorite type of food?
Oh, I'm gonna say Asian food.
What is your zodiac sign, and do you believe in it?
I'm a Cancer. And honestly, I'm not I don't get this word.
Astrology?
Astrology? Astronomy.
Astrology. The stars, right?
The stars. Yeah. But I believe in, I'm definitely emotional.
What is your favorite season?
Fall.
What's the last thing you Googled?
How to do CPR.
Oh, that's awful.
No, it was just basically the kayak, the
Oh.
location of the kayaking, Lower Prospect.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks
Oh,
for joining us.
So awesome.
No, thank you for having me. It was very, very fun. It was like my first ever podcast, but
Yeah.
you guys made it very enjoyable and not like scary at all.
Awesome.
That's good.
Awesome.
I'm glad.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you were here. Well, we love following you online
Oh,
and
thank you.
doing all the things. Thank you. How adorable was she?
She is great.
She's like cute as a bug.
She really is.
She really
So much
is.
energy.
And I'm just so blown away that somebody, like, I was not that put together at her age.
Not that put together at any age.
No, I'm not either. I really like her. She's a lovely, lovely girl. And I do want to point out that since we spoke with her, there has been a little bit of a change. She's no longer doing Date Night Halifax. Something had to give. God love her. Something had to give a little
That's
bit.
a lot that she was doing.
She was doing a lot. She was really doing 2 full-time jobs. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So Dateline Halifax, is that what it's called?
Date night.
Date night, Dateline. She was that
She's
good,
not reporting on true crime in Halifax.
but she
But
could.
maybe next maybe that's what she's freeing up time.
That's exactly. Date Night Halifax has now been moved on to somebody else. She's passed the torch, and she will be doing all of her social media on Gabby Chan. So make sure to follow her there. Plus, she's a full-time nurse, for goodness sake.
Yeah, she's got a lot on the go.
And honest to goodness, just a sweetheart of a person. And it was fun to have her on.
Yeah, it was amazing that she could carve out a little bit of time to chat with us, and we highly enjoyed it, and we hope that you did too.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Imposter Sisters. Please remember, we're not doctors or mental health experts. If you're looking for mental health guidance, please see our show notes for local resources. We'd like to thank our location sponsor, the Mellow Mug, located at 64 Delridge Lane, for donating this amazing space for us to have these important chats and for supplying us with drinks and goodies. Please give them a follow and make sure to stop in to see this beautiful spot for yourself. Until next time, keep your head high and we will see you next Tuesday. Are you looking to up your social media game? Social media can be intimidating and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. At Every Day I'm Branding, we truly believe that every day is an opportunity to showcase your brand through authentic and aligned social media strategy and content. Whether you're looking for done-for-you social management or monthly strategy sessions, the team at Every Day I'm Branding can help you reach your ideal audience in a way that feels aligned and drives conversion. If you'd like to have the Imposter Sisters come into your business and help you and your team get comfortable creating social media content, ask us about our new Keen to Screen program, a value-packed social media training for anyone that is looking to up their social media presence either as a solopreneur or to empower their team to be impactful brand ambassadors.